Shit quality video to shit quality microphone. Yippee! Well, this is quite enjoyable to see cracks happening, but is this the beginning of their fall of GW, or just a small phase that might take longer for GW to fall? Let's start with some hobby shops going against GW. Well, that's a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. The story goes like there are some hobby shops that had a hell of a nightmare to cooperate with GW to get some packages or some stock on time, and most likely it's on purpose, and some stores are tired of it, and are starting to liquidate their GW stocks in their store, and that it will just move on without it. That's the summary of it, but you can check these videos and I'll add them in the description if you need further detail. I have a theory, and time to put my tinfoil hat on. As in, for the last 5 years in GW stores, they tend to either get smaller in size or tend to have less stores. It's either one of them. And seeing more and more products on their website specifically to be online. Or the most popular models tend to be online, which that goes directly to GW and makes a lot of money. Not only that, they did an announcement at the beginning of 2024, more or less, and saying they will increase the price again just after the Femstodies controversy, which I'll talk about it later. And honestly, they won't stop doing that for the next couple of years because they are so big, and until they make a turn, that boat is going to hit the iceberg no matter what. Combine those two together, and I can see this is more of an intention to make their products online only. And you can get official models, quote unquote, from GW maybe in the next couple of years. That almost sounds like Apple, how there are certain chargers or certain gear or products that you can only get from them and nobody else. This is why I'm an Android boy and have my shit versatile. I want my phone to be safe. Oh yeah? Go read 1984 and then we'll talk. And that's why, just like how Gamza says it,
hey! Go buy a 3D printer. You own every single model that they could ever possibly make. Do you know how fast these dudes work on sculpting this shit? There was an old video, I don't think I have the image no more. There was it was like a Black Templar Emperor's Champion model that was just announced. And before the official model was even released, there was already people 3D printing that model. Because the sculptors went in and started sculpting that shit. And before it was released, this dude was sending me images of like all the Emperor's Champions that he had already printed. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is quick. It was like within a week. Like they basically they said, hey, this is like our new Emperor's Champion or whatever that's coming out. And it was like 2-3 days later, the dude was already printing them.
Now, I'm not sure if Gamza intentionally put those videos back up or he's going to put it back to unlisted or private, but he's got loads of tutorials about 3D printing and all that. So if you want to check his shit, they're all there. But mainly he just streams. He doesn't do that kind of stuff anymore. Either have every army in your arsenal when 3D printing, or have a much cooler army to run in your arsenal. You can do almost anything with it. And there's lots of tutorials how to print and make your own stuff. It's pretty fun. Next subject of today, which will take longer, is the Femstodies. They retcon Femstodies with this book that just came out from October 29th. I don't buy it. I have several questions when it comes to it, like, when was this planned, before or after the controversy of Femstodies? Obviously, who wrote it and what's its intention? If it was done after, then it would be embarrassing, trying to fix the lore, quote unquote, and the damage is already done. The animation, especially in the 10th edition codex. If it was before, then it is still embarrassing because since they are releasing it even though they knew about the controversy, or they're releasing it in before knowing about the controversy, but they're still pushing it regardless, then to better off leave it on the shelf and just hold it there until they fix the bloody problem. Especially with the writers like Guy Haley and Gav Thorpe. Questionable. Especially with that track record they did. More on Gav Thorpe than Guy Haley, but I'm holding Guy Haley on a leash. Like, he's not getting out of this too easily. Honestly, I don't see this as a win or a retcon, because after the Femstodies controversy, GW made their faction video, which was a while ago, which was either a couple of days or a couple of weeks after the gaslighting incident, from memory at least, which was about the custodians, and they got disliked, bombed to the fucking floor. And not only that, they didn't mention once about the Femstodies in the video. Even with the YouTubers, and especially this British man who was playing fence sitting, played like a pussy, and relied on the one sentence from the Horus Heresy Black Books just to say it's possible. Even though there's multiple examples, multiple times in different codexes are shown. And also not the other British man. Look, as much as I shit on this guy and his videos and not being great, but look, we'll give credit when the credit is due, it does have some enjoyable streams to watch. And you should have looked at his face when he found out about the Femstodies controversy while reading the 10th edition codex. Oh boy, it was something. Like, Day of Judgment, the end times, whatever you want to call it, all that, it was just an understatement. That man opened his books, read the whole story, and man felt like he was about to fucking vanish from the stream. To get back on track, no one from that video they made, no one even mentioned they retconned back then. But now, with this one book that came out in October 29th, now you want to say it's retconned? Look, my apologies, my dear guy. Marshall Behemoth. Behemond's nuts. I don't fucking know at this point, man. With all honesty, I just found you from this video only, and I don't know you that much. And I've seen you comment as well, so I haven't missed anything as far as I'm aware when it comes to that video specifically. But, to put it in the most positive, loving, polite, inclusive, diverse insults that I could put it into one basket, you're a fucking idiot. Does that offend you? No. Then pretend to be offended or offend someone's behalf. It's not that hard to be dramatic to make more YouTube revenue. Fuck! Honestly, I just don't see this as a win, my guy, or a retcon or a deletion from the setting, because many things that were mentioned from the lore years ago, GW just drags it back into the modern day or the current lore. And I can give it a couple examples, like Malao Malice, and the Eldar faction like the Inari and the Squats, aka the Leagues of Otan. Both of them were introduced back to the 8th edition, and the Squats in the 9th edition, and then nothing much happened after that, they just existed. Plus, let's not forget that many times with authors and GW themselves say there's no canon. Even Luton states in one of his videos that there is no canon because of those authors. And he's semi-correct, until he started backpedaling and said there's no official lore until there isn't. Which that's another way of saying it's canon until it's not. That's fucking silly. It's like saying, I chopped my leg. I cut my leg. Both saying the same shit, and the leg is still off. Which also, Gat Thorpe, the man who wrote this book, says 40 canon is a fallacy. Plus he's a wokey adding pronouns in these recent books, and they're all boring. And Guy Haley, who also wrote the book, who's in a bit of a green light, but he has done some woke tokens as well, so I wouldn't let him off the leash just yet. So, with all that combined, I'll ask this again. Did we really win? Hell nah. There's no GW authors that are not replaced with competent writers. The GW higher-ups are still making money and being greedy. The prices are still going up. There is so much limitation of what you can get or do from GW stores, which that's why you just go and get a 3D printer, to be honest, and play it at a hobby shop, since, honestly, they don't care that much. And do you honestly think this small lore change, which it isn't, might stop Black Library or GW to make more female custodes books, joy toys, and models, animations as well? No, I don't think so. I think they will and make more. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I will still be skeptical about it, because you never know when it might come back again and do the same shit, but worse. To clarify a little bit, this is not saying like you're a liar or anything like that. You seemed pretty genuine, but a bit naive to think this is just a small good win. Good example, like currently right now in Gaming Gate 2, like Asmongold even declared a win after quote-unquote beating the DEI hire company, even though there's a bigger fish to fry, or multiple fish to fry, and that shit is dangerous. Because pretty much you're telling the audience, hey guys, the war is over now, it's all good, it's all done, now go home and rest, even though there's a round 2 you didn't expect. Just like how Sun Tzu said, shit on them during their sleep where they least expected. 1984 AD. But I'll copy Gamza's take, and I'll have to pay the fine now when he's back on streaming again at 2 AM from my time. I take 6 steps forward, but I will take 4 steps backwards after you say no and threatening me with a knife. But I still gained 2 steps forward, which is my new position. This is what is called testing the boundaries. And to be honest, GW or any woke company or anybody who's woke, to be honest, they're quite good at it. Play it subtle, doing the boiling frog syndrome, and just testing the boundaries whenever they can. So, even with the singular book means fuck all. Honestly, nothing. The damage is done, there is no going back, and a couple years later, they might bring it back, like there's no telling what they're going to do. I've shown multiple examples of past of what GW does, and they would do it again. If there is something they can abuse, they will abuse it, or trick you to it. Now, sometimes I say to myself deep down, I hope it heals, and I hope it goes through a better direction. But I am too cynical with these things because from what GW did in the past for the last 5 years that I've been into the hobby, and the female custodes was the last straw on the camel's back. Shocking, I know. And no, not because it's women. Because it breaks the lore and its consistency for the last 30 years of the custodians. In every single codex, they've been consistently doing it. And for the last 52 books of the Horus Heresy that I read, not one female custodian was ever mentioned. So stop doing fucking strawman arguments against me. Unless you want to get laughed at. Then again, I can't really reason with the unreasonable, aka mental illness. And also, with my favorite quote, hope is the first step on the road to disappointment. 3rd edition and 4th edition books teach well on these topics like this. I highly recommend them. Plus, Dawn of War. So, that'll be it for this low quality video. No hard feelings, Marshall Behemoth. These nuts. Behemoth. Alright, anyways, I'll just say Marshall. Fucking no hard feelings, Marshall. I think you're alright, guy. We can play some Tabletop Simulator with my firstborn Imperial Fist and still be undefeated as a loser since the 8th edition. I'm just a small YouTuber with 12 subs and I have, at best, 5 viewers for every video that I make. If you would like to support my works of what I do, I have a Patreon and YouTube memberships for monthly subscription or Ko-Fi where you can donate or do a monthly subscription based on your own price, which I'll give you names at the end of my videos as I thank you for your support. It ain't much, but it's honest work. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye, my brothers, and take care.